Swami Prabhupada ki jai, Shukshika Dev Swami Maharaj ki jai, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai, Bhakti Vinod Parivar ki jai, Shri Shri Gauranga Madhava ki jai, Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Good evening, everyone. We have again for continuing our discussion of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the narrative of first version of it, because it appears again in Adi-lila, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's conversion of the sannyasis in Benares. Sriman Mahaprabhu, Jai, Krishna Sankirtan, Jai. So, in recent discussions, we've heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is replying to Prakashananda Saraswati and relating to him what he says is a conversation that he had with his guru, in which his guru told him he was unqualified to study the Vedanta, and instead that he should chant the Krishna mantra. And, as well, the holy name of Krishna. So it's obvious from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's relating this to Prakashananda Saraswati that he received the Ram mantra, and also the Krishna mantra, the Gopal mantra, and a version of it, and the mandate to chant the Maha mantra, the Hare Krishna Nam mantra, and he relates the effects this had upon him to Prakashananda Saraswati, and how he then reported this to his guru, Ishwar Puri. And we come tonight to how Ishwar Puri replied to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, having heard this. He says, Hasai, Nachai, More, Kore, Koraye, Kanandan. Etoshuni Guru Hasi, Balilavacham. So, saying that it causes me to laugh and to cry and to dance and so forth. Hearing this, Shuni, Etoshuni, hearing this, Guru Hasi, Balilavacham. My Guru smiled. He was pleased to hear this. And he spoke as follows. Krishna Nam Mahamantre Eta Swabhav Ye Jape Tar Krishna Upajay Bhav. So here he refers to the Nam mantra of Krishna Nam, as the Mahamantra. Krishna Nam Mahamantra Eta Swabhav. You see, he's talking about the nature, he says the nature of the Krishna Nam Mahamantra. So rather than the Diksha mantra now is talking about the Harinam, its efficacy, which who knows we are greater than that of the Diksha mantra, but the greatness and the power of the Nam mantra to bestow the praying Krishna Charan that it can is really aided by the culture of meditation on the Diksha mantra, which in a concerted fashion focuses the sadhaka in the stage of sadhana bhakti on Sharanagati, submission. Sadhana bhakti is characterized by submission and Sharanagati, Shraddha. These go together. Shraddha is faith, and Sharanagati is the form that faith takes externally. It's the tangible way which it manifests before us. So this is the focus in Sharanagati, in Sadhana Bhakti, and in Bhava Bhakti, of course, the focus is longing, and the drive is really taste and greed and so forth. Now there's going to be some slight overlapping of this, obviously, in the higher stages of sadhana, bhakti, ruchi, asakti, and so forth, where there's some scope for genuine longing to take place. But basically, the two divisions of sadhana bhakti and bhava bhakti are characterized in this way. So again, we have the Krishna mantra, and then in the dative case, which says to Krishna, to Govinda, to, for example, Gopijana Bhavana, Govindaya, Gopijana Balavaya, Krishnaya, Swaha. I give myself. I offer myself. So this is supplication. So this precedes the stage really of longing. There's not much value in longing, and longing in the absence of submission. So and this is what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was talking about when he used to say, first serve, then desire. Be a Sharanagata. Then let's talk about rasa. Fair enough. As I say sometimes, well, you've been given a sadhaka daya, and immediately you want to sit a day. Sadhaka daya is not good enough. You've perfected that already. That's a work in progress. So it's already perfected. Just like that. It's possible, but there should be some symptoms. So with the culture of Sharanagati, in the context of the Sampradaya, we naturally have an ideal to attain the Braj Bhakti and so forth. And we know that there are specific windows of opportunity that Sampradaya offers and so forth. But just like I've given examples where you go to the mall and you want to go to room 108 and you look on the map and it says 108 is up here. And what else does it say? And you are here. So you have to focus here to go there. You have to know where you want to go. But you have to focus where you are to make the next step. So this is what he meant. It's very practical. First deserve, then desire. I mean, someone might reply that there's no deserving, there's no way that we qualify ourselves, nothing that we do that makes us qualify for bhakti. It's a question of mercy, grace, and so on and so forth. That's true, but what we're talking about is bhakti qualifying. Bhakti does qualify us. We don't. Bhakti qualifies us more and more. And there is a stage, of Mas Mahaprabhu said in this Sankirtan of cleansing the heart. Mini stage. So everything in good time, and adhikar, or eligibility, and understanding that, applying oneself accordingly is what Bhakti Thakur refers to as real beauty. Because it's very practical. It's very unbecoming when someone acts out of place. People should know in society, people know their place, and if they do, they act accordingly, then it's becoming. If they act out of place, then it's like uncomfortable, unbecoming, it's not beautiful. So with regard to sadhana bhakti again, I've given an example before that if you want to go to India, that's a great idea. And they might say, Swami, I want to go to India. What do you think? And I might say, do you have a passport? No. Do you have a job? No. Very good. Why don't you get a job? No, I want to go to India. Maybe you need to get a job so that you can buy a passport. And then I'm going to ask you, do you have a visa? Ticket. Okay. Now maybe we can start talking about where you might go. So if I want to just sit, I suppose just sit and look at the travel logs, desire to go to India and so forth. But if I never get to the work at hand, of actually going through what's needed to raise the money, to get the passport, to get the visa, so on and so forth, I'm never going to get dysentery just by looking at the at the travel guide. You have to go there to get that. I mean, I don't know what it's like now. I've been there a while, but it used to be pretty much standard symptom of having arrived or spent some time there. Mm. So, so here, anyway, the virtues of Krishnanam, the nature of Krishnanam, is described in the Nam is referred to with the term Mahamantra. This term for describing the 16 syllable Nam mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Is also used by Mahaprabhu into the pen of Vrindavan Thakur in his Chaitanya Bhagavad, where he mandated his followers chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So a specific reference here to the Mahamantra. Sometimes it's said by some that the Mahamantra can only be chanted in japa, because it's a Vedic mantra, appearing as it does in the Kali Santaram Upanishad. Iti surasakam namam kalipam ashanashanam. Sarvavedeshu dushite, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Iti surasakam nam, these 16 names, means 8 names, I guess, 16 syllables, 16 syllable mantra. To destroy the effects of Kali Yuga, and this is heralded in all Shastras. So some people say that because it's a Vedic mantra from the Upanishads, it can't be chanted out loud. It has to be done only in japa. But obviously Mahaprabhu was chanting out loud, dancing, singing, with instruments, and so forth. And he's also got the Krishna mantra that he's doing the japa. Although it says ye jap tare Krishna upajay bhav, he says the nature of the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is that one who does the japa of it develops loving ecstasy for Krishna. But here the word japa can also be translated as Prabhupada translated. So it's chants, and it's also true that if you, as I mentioned the other day, japa is an anga of dhyan or smaranam. But there are 3 forms of the japa at the same time, which is manasik, upamsa, and vachasik. So in the mind, whispering, these would be examples of smaranam or dhyan, japa as an anga of dhyan or smaranam. And the third, vachasik, speaking loudly, out loud. When the japa is done out loud, it becomes an anga of kirtan. Japa of Krishnanam. Indeed, we find in some, we are discussing in the morning at this time the glories of Haridas Thakur, Shri Thakur Haridas Ki Jai, that is passing through the world. And there it's mentioned in other places where Haridas's virtues are also mentioned, that he was engaged in Sankirtan, although it's referring to his notoriety and fame for chanting on Japa Mala 3 lakhs of the Mahamantra daily. So it's said in some places, at least I've heard, I can't cite the place, but I've heard that some devotees say Haridas Thakur chanted 3 lakhs, so 1 lakh manasa, 1 upamsa, 1 vachasik, 1 in the mind, 1 whispering that oneself can hear, and 1 out loud that others can hear. There's different ways, of course, of thinking about that. You could say that the chanting out loud as a rhythm of kirtan is best. Because other people also hear it. We can also say chanting with the mind is best, because it implies some control. Because you could chant out loud, but your mind could be somewhere else. If you can't chant with your mind and have your mind somewhere else, you can't think of two thoughts at the same time. Try it. So if you're actually doing the manasa japa, well, then your mind is fixed, you're attentive. So that sometimes, from that perspective, considered to be better, chanting. But in the case of Haridas, who could chant the like in his mind, that like chanting out loud was best. Understand? And people would benefit the most from that, and so he would do. There's an example of the prostitute. He told in another chapter, Caitanya Charitamrita coming sent to distract him, chanting out loud so that she could hear, and the result we see was extraordinary. Right? She became a devotee. So anyway, Mahaprabhu's guru says, Krishna Nam Mahamantra Etasvabhav is the nature of the Mahamantra, the Nam Mahamantra, that those who chant it. Tar Krishna Upajayavav. In them, Bhava for Krishna awakens, arises, Upajaya, develops. The way Prabhupada uses here. Gradually. Krishna Vishayakha Prema Param Purushartha Yar Agye Trin Tulya Chari Purushartha. So Krishna Vishayaka. Krishna as the Vishay, the object of praying. This is what we call the Purushartha. Praying for the perfect object of love is not the Purushartha, but the Parama Purushartha, he says. Purushartha means the goal of life. So this is the Parama Purushartha, the supreme goal of life. Yar Agitrin Tulya Chari Purushartha. And he says it makes the other goals of life Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, like insignificant straw in the street. Panchama Purushartha, Premananda Mrita Sindhu, Mokshari Ananda Jar, Nahi Bindu. He emphasizes this point now. He says, it is the Panchama Purushartha. In case you were thinking, because he has said, it's the Parama Purushartha, Yar Agi Trin Tulya Chari Purushartha. Well, he says all four. He says it makes the other four like straws in the street. In case that caused you to go, wait a minute, what about moksha? We can't consider that like a straw in the street. I mean, maybe Dharma, Artha, and Kama, but what about moksha? So to underscore the point, no. He says, Panchama Purushartha. This is the fifth goal of life. It is beyond moksha. Premananda Mrita Sindhu. It is a nectar ocean, immortal ocean, nectar ocean of praying. Mokshari Ananda Jar Nai Eko Bindu. In comparison to this immortal ocean of nectar of praying, moksha is what? Naik Bindu, not even a drop. Nothing. And this is the fourth goal of life, the beyond Turiya, first three, into the invisible world and so forth, to never return from, and so on and so forth. There's a small thing, just a drop compared to an ocean. Krishna, and he's, of course, speaking to the Mayavadis here, whose goal is moksha, a particular type of moksha, merge with Brahman. But any kind of moksha. Krishna namer phal prem sarva shastre koi bhagye se prem tomai korila udai. The fruit, the conclusion of all the Shastras is that the name of Krishna, Krishna Namyar Phal, the name of Krishna is the phal, the fruit, or prem. That the fruit or the result of engaging in Krishna Nam, all the Shastras say, is prem. This, again, I've said before, is a very Gaudiya perspective. We don't find any sampradaya, not Ramanuja Sampradaya, Bhagavad Sampradaya, Nimbarka Sampradaya, Bhagavad Sampradaya, using the word prem in terms of their ideal, their goal, even though they're all about some type of prem. There's prem also in Vaikuntha, and the Bhagavad Sampradaya and the Nimbarka Sampradaya, their ideal is in Golok. Maybe the Bhagavad Sampradaya in Vatsalya Ras or form of Madhurya Ras, even in the Raj, different from our focus. So there are all types of prem, but they readily use the term mukti, a word that Sarvabhauma became disturbed at hearing, even when it was found in a Bhagavatam verse, after he himself had been converted to the pursuit of the Prem Prayojan by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. He wanted to change the word. How's that verse go? Jive jab yo mukti pare sadaya bhak. He wanted to change it. Jive yo bhakti pare sadaya bhak. Mahaprabhu was pleased and displeased. He said, externally said, oh, you can't change a word in the Bhagavatam. That's not good. But internally, he was pleased with the spirit behind it, and then he harmonized it for him. He said the verse says mukti pade, so mukti at the feet of Krishna. It means a form of bhakti. Take it easy, he said. Something like that. But this is a very Gaudiya term, prem prayojan. The ideal, the goal is prem. And by contrast, it's not mukti, it's not mukti, it's not mukti. And it's not any of the kinds of mukti, even in Vaikuntha. Here we're not referring only to Brahmasaruja, but Salokya Sarsti Samipya, Sarupya Ikantiya Prita Diyamam Chagrinati Vidhamat Sevanam Jana. The devotees, they don't accept any of these types of liberation. They are the perks of Vaikuntha. One may pursue those perks. That may be the motivating factor in their practice. That's a lower idea. Or they may pursue prem in Vaikuntha and the perks a little bit too. The Swami would explain like this: that's a better idea. So different stages, gradations, even in the Vaikuntha. But the ideal of the Gaudiyas finds that such desires for those perks, they get in the way of the prem that Mahaprabhu is offering. And of course, the example is given here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, not in this chapter, but later on in the fourth. In the 8th chapter of Adi-lila, when Mahaprabhu asks Ramananda Roy to speak on the sadhya and sadhana, the means and the goal, what's the best practice and what's the best goal. And when he comes to the end, then the way he describes the gopikas there, it's very extreme. But speak of not wanting any of the perks of Vaikuntha and only wanting prem. They only accept the bliss of prem because they know it will be pleasing to Krishna. And and he speaks about a certain type of gopi there also, who never wants to have direct union with Krishna. These are the handmaidens of Radha, very specific. And these kind of sakis, he says, without them, the union of Radha and Krishna cannot take place. What is the position of Rup Sanatana, Krishnadas Kasturi Manjari, Krishnadas Kaviraj, or Swami? The broader idea of Saki Bhava, of course, includes all the friends of Radha. It includes some of the Priyanarma Sakas, whose Bhava is also called Saki Bhava, even though these are all different types of Saki Bhava. And it's true that the union of Radha and Krishna can't take place without all of these participants, but particularly the emphasis is there on the handmaidens of Radha, who embody the highest ideal of Gaudiya Vaishnavism and who have particular access to the loving union of Radha and Krishna, ostensibly owing to their age and immaturity, but for philosophical, theological reasons as well. And that highest union of Radha and Krishna is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is about. You can get an idea of what Gaudiya Vaishnava Prayoja in the fullest sense of the term, the highest sense of the term, where it extends to. It's specific in that way. So he says that the fruit of Krishna, chanting Krishna Nam is prema, and all the scriptures say this. Bhagye se prema tomai korila udai. And so you, Ishvapuri, arguably is saying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Mahaprabhu relates the conversation, you Bhagya se prema tomai korila. You are very fortunate because in you I see this prema. You've chanted, and this is what's happened to you. It makes you a little bit dysfunctional in relation to the world. And it was such that you thought maybe there was something wrong. No, there's something wrong with the world. You're okay. You become mad in love for Krishna. He says, Premar swabhave kori chitta tanu choba. And Krishnera charana prapte upajayobha. So Premar swabhav. It is the swabhav, the nature of prem. Kore chitta tanu. Choba. That it causes transformations in the body. It causes agitation in the body. And Krishna Charana Prapte. And it causes us to attain the feet of Krishna. And brings about lobha, greed, eagerness for more, something like that. So different ways to look at this. Of course, you can look at this as a gradation also. It causes some transformation in the body, in the sadhaka deha, gives rise to lobha. And as it does, proportionately, it qualifies one for the practices of all that constitute the practices of Raga Bhakti. Chanting is part of that. There's this, we'll get to it, but there's this question about, is the chanting sufficient, or do I have to do Raga Bhakti also? And some say, no, the chanting is sufficient. You don't need to do Raga Bhakti. And some say, no, the chanting is not sufficient. You have to do Raga Bhakti. Which one is right?
Well, chanting leads to Raga Bhakti.
In other words, neither one of them is right. We'll get to that. emphasize that the understanding given here, Chaitanya Chaitamrita. So it's the characteristic of prema that it induces agitation in the body and makes one greedy to achieve the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So as again, it could be taken also. It's the nature of the cultivation of prema that it causes us to use the body differently and properly as a sadhaka deha rather than as a material body, only for the service of Krishna. And as that occurs, or as that takes place, the lobha for Krishna, greed for Krishna, awakens, which is said to be the drive, the motor behind Raganuga Bhakti, or the qualifier for Raganuga Bhakti, to be driven in one's culture by taste, by eagerness, by greed. And then he says, because here he says what? Premar swabhavi bhakta hase kande gai umatta hoiya nache iti utithai. When one actually develops prema, then at that time he naturally cries. Sometimes he laughs, sometimes he chants, sometimes he runs here and there, just like a madman. Sweet kamparo manchashru gadkara vaivarnya unmada vishada dharya karva harsha dainya etta babe bha prema bhakta gane re nachai krishnera anandamrita sagare basai. So here he lists 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 8 sattvika bhavas to be examples of transformations of the body in prema. There may be transformations of the body before prema in a basic way, which I'm talking about, where we're transforming the body, so to speak, from the material body to the full sense of a sadhaka deha practitioner's body, bringing your senses that the body is constituted of only in touch with sense objects for the pleasure of Krishna's senses. This will increase lobha will bring about, cause lobha to arise. And also, of course, if we want to take it the other way, in prema, the body is agitated and transformed in different ways that constitute the sattvika bhavas, and eagerness for Krishna, greed for Krishna is just intensified. Further, so here he mentions, anyway, 5, 6 of the 8 sattvika bhavas and various vyabhichari bhavas, actually, umada, bishada, dhairya, garva, harsha, dainya. These are all vyabhichari bhavas, samchari bhavas, that in conjunction with this dhyana bhav give rise to these various symptoms. So the sattvika bhavas are a peculiar thing. Sattva means something that has a nature unto itself, in one sense is the meaning of the word sattva. And here in this context it means that, but also it means the sattva means to have the heart completely overwhelmed by love for Krishna, such that the bhava in the heart forcefully rides on pran, subtle air as it's thought, in the body, and in the context of doing so, contacts the fire, the earth element. And when it contacts the earth element, then there's stunning. One becomes stunned. Like stunned, what was another word for that? Like petrified. It's like frozen. When it touches the fire element in the body, then there is perspiration and changing of colors, the complexion of the body. And when it touches the water element, then there are tears. When it touches the ether element, then there's fainting. When it touches when it stays within itself, the pran itself, the air element, then it has three effects. In a mild, when it does so mildly, it causes the hairs to stand on end. When in an immediate sense, it causes the trembling of the body. When it's in an intense state, then it causes the choking, gadgara, choking of the voice. So these are the sattvic bhavs, and they're of a nature unto themselves, which means that they manifest in the body without the help of anything else. In other words, that differentiates them from anubhavs, which manifest bodily, but in our sattva, they're constitutive sattva also, bhava, overwhelming the heart, but they manifest in conjunction with intelligence, with thinking. Let me dance. Let me raise my arms. So something like this. So the sattvic bhavs are called such in one sense because differentiated from the anubhavs, because there's nothing else involved except that influence. And so the movements, the transformations are thought to be involuntary. And they have two sides. So here on one side you have the anubhavs, which are external movements, and all the different rasas will have different anubhavs. So the anubhavs for Sakya rasa will be different than the anubhavs for Madhurya rasa. Cowrie girls aren't going, okay, let's have a fight. Yeah, they're like this. So these are all anubhavs. These or the anubhavs of Vatsalya rasa will be different. So Rupa Goswami explains that in the chapter where he deals with the different rasas. But on the one side, as I say, you have these anubhavs, which are external. On the other side, you have the vyabhichari bhavs, also called sanchari bhavs. It's just two words that say the same thing, that speak about the nature of them being transitory. They come and they go, they come and they go. Some of them are mentioned here. Vishada, so to be despondent, Varya, patience, Garva, pride, Harsha, joyfulness, Dainya, humility. So these are all emotions. These emotions are not powerful enough to dominate and define you as friendship does, as parental love does, as romantic love does, but they influence the sthayi bhavs, the emotions that can define you in the spiritual world. And the vyabhichari bhavs are different for the different rasas also. So some will experience some others, and then there's 32 of them. So on the one end you have the vyabhichari bhav, the other end you have the anubhavs. In that, the anubhavs are external in their appearance, and the vyabhichari bhavs are all internal: pride, joy, despondency. You don't see these. They're all internal. So it's said also, it may be said that the sattvic bhavs have a anubhav and a vyabhichari aspect. So they have an internal effect, and that causes the external effect, something like that. And there are different types of the sattvic bhavs too. There's digdha, snigdha, digdha, ruksha, for example. So there are affectionate ones. Snigdha means, and they arise from, the snigdha are either primary or secondary. They arise from those emotions that have the power to generate rasa, like Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. These are the primary. The secondary ones are the secondary rasas, like Hasya, Vira, laughter, heroism, and so forth. There are 5 primary, 7 secondary rasas. So you can have snigdha anubhav, snigdha sattvic bhavs, which are primary or secondary, arising from either the primary rasa or the secondary rasa. Sometimes the primary rasa will be recede to the background, and a secondary rasa will dominate for some time. That secondary rasa is like a vyabhichari in that it's transient, but not like a vyabhichari in that it has the power to generate rasa, like a sthayi bhav. So you have snigdha satvika bhavs arising from either primary or secondary notions, and then you have the digdha, which are indirect. They arise from something else, something that's not primary or secondary. Here, different vyabhicharis are mentioned, but the vyabhicharis are all in conjunction with a primary or secondary rasa. So he's not talking about digdha here. Indirect is something like this, like Mother Yasoda had a dream, it's described one night. And in the dream, Putana in a huge body was rolling around in her house, and she became fearful. Fear was the secondary rasa that dominated Vayam. But her body was trembling, but it was trembling as a result of the dream of this big body of Putin rolling around in her house. It never really happened, but happened in a dream. And that was the cause. So it's an indirect cause. It's not directly caused by the rasa. She's in Vatsalya rasa, and she develops fear, but her body started shaking because she saw this in a dream. This is an example that's given to try to explain the indirect. And then there's the ruksha. Ruksha means that the appearance of Satvika bhavs manifest in someone who doesn't have bhav, who doesn't have rati. That would be like rati avas, bhav avas. It might come for a short period of time or something like that. Come to a festival, get absorbed in there. It's maybe some tears or something. And there's a whole chapter, of course, in Bhava Bhakti on a whole section of the chapter on Bhava Bhakti and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu about the Bhava Vas. So, science of ecstasy. And it's the world of ecstasy where all the movements are, and all the feelings are, as I was saying, the manifestations of ecstasy, and being, I should say, centered as they are on Krishna. Even the apparent unhappy ones are causing bliss. So he says that he's kind of giving an example here. He says that the perspiration, trembling, standing on one's hairs, bodily hairs on end, tears, faltering, fading, madness, melancholy, patience, pride, joy, humility. These are the various natural symptoms of ecstatic love of God. He's kind of giving an overview here, which cause the boys to dance and float in ocean of transcendental ecstasy. Context of Kirtan Rasa. Bhala huila hoile tumi parama purushartha. Tomar premite ami hailun kritartha. It's very good, Tripurari says, that, my dear child, that you have attained parama purushartha, the supreme goal of life. Tomar premite ami hailun kritartha. You have pleased me very much, and very much obliged to you. This is the service we want to render to our Gurudev. Nacho gao bhakta sangi kar sankirtan Krishnanam upadeshitar sarvajan. My dear child, continue dancing, chanting, performing sankirtan in association with devotees. Bhakta sangi kar sankirtan. In association with devotees, do sankirtan of Krishnanam. And further, Krishnanam upadeshitar sarvajan. Give the teaching about Krishnanam to all the people. Sarvajan. Everybody share this dispensation with everyone. Ekto bali ek kushikailo more. Saying this, my Guru gave me one shloka, instructed me in one shloka. Bhagavater sar e bole bole bole. Is the essence of the Bhagavatam's instructions. Therefore, bole bole bole, again and again he told me about this. Now, apparently Krishna's Kaviraj really likes this verse, because he cited it numerous times in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He cited it here. He cited it again at the end of the Adi-lila, when this narrative of the Benares Lila is again is found again. He cites it in the conversation with Ramana Roy with Mahaprabhu, and the instructions of Mahaprabhu the Sanatana Goswami, and from the mouth of Haridas Thakur, when he speaks about the virtues of the holy name, when they're questioned by the Brahmin, and so forth. And he speaks about the virtues of the name. Speak about the secondary virtues being mukti, the main virtues being something else. And so many times he uses the verse. It's a verse from the 11th canto, cited by, I think, one of the Navya Yogendras, I think, Kavi to Maharaj Nime. It's a beautiful chapter, the lessons of the Navya Yogendras, all about bhakti. Emphasis there on kirtan also. So this is one of the verses. Evam vratasva priyanama kirtya jatanu rago dutachitta uchai hasati atho ruditi roti gayati unmadavan nrititi lokupaya. So evam vratasva priyanama kirtya, having taken evam vrata, having taken a vow, it really means swapriyanama kirtya, to do kirtan of the names of Krishna that are dear to you. Swapriya Nama. Swapriya, the names of Krishna that are dear to you. To take a vow, or in a committed way, it means to chant them. As I said the other night, that this was the final practice, if you will, of Gopakumar and Brihad Bhagavatamrita. He did Nam Kirtan of the favorite names of Krishna. And without any interruption, in a committed way. It also means Evam Vratasva Priyanama. It also implies that if you take a vow to chant, it implies Vaidhi Bhakti. A Vaidhi kind of orientation. And really, this is practically unavoidable. So this making this very heavy demarcation between Raga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti, almost as if Vaidhi Bhakti is bad, Raga Bhakti is good. It's very artificial, actually. And while Vaidhi Bhakti, as a practice unto itself, is the pursuit of Aishvarya Gyan, Aishvarya Prem, love of God and awe and reverence. That does not mean that Vaidhi Bhakti has no place in Raga Bhakti. The angas of Vaidhi Bhakti have no place in Raga Bhakti. Indeed, one of the practices of Raga Bhakti, of which there are three mentioned by Rupa Goswami and Bhakti Rasamrita Singh, is to besides remembering the Leelas of Krishna that exemplify the love one is pursuing, serving in a sadhaka deha and a siddha deha. Besides these two, or the other two, the third is to engage in Vaidhi Bhakti, hearing, chanting, and so forth. It means all that has been said before this, because the Raga Bhakti section is the end of the second chapter of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is about sadhana. And the greater balance of the book is all about Vaidhi Bhakti. And so, Ado, Gurvashraya. So just because Rupa Goswami says these are the three practices of Raga and Guru Bhakti doesn't mean you don't need a guru, because it wasn't mentioned there. No, that's also included. There may be a couple of angas, as as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out, within Vaidhi Bhakti that are not useful for Rag Bhakti, like worshipping the queens of Dwarka. Okay, obviously. There's just a couple. All of them can be incorporated and should be to strengthen and fortify the other practices of Rag Bhakti, which are remembering the Leelas, Leela Smarnam, and serving in the Sadhaka Deya and the Siddha Deya. The latter following the former. And there's overlapping. They're going on at the same time at some point as well. So there's no need to make this harsh demarcation between the two. We make a demarcation in terms of moods and ideals. One ideal is reverential love of God. One ideal is love in madhurya and intimacy, sweetness, Vrindavan Lila. And the mood is what is the difference between Raga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti. And as one becomes qualified through the practices of Vaidhi Bhakti with this ideal in mind, then it's more practical. One has greater eligibility, adhikar, to incorporate certain practices of Raga Bhakti, like serving in a Siddha Deya, for example. This is not for beginners. Indeed, what does he say next? He says, Jatanu Rago Dutachitu Uchai. So taking a vow to chant the favorite names of Krishna, doing the hard work of, so to speak, sadhana, like I say, first it's medicine, and then it becomes food and so forth. Then what happens? Jatanu Raga. And Kaviraj Goswami uses the term elsewhere in Chaitanya Charitamrita Sanatana Siksha. Jatarati and Ajatarati. You heard me use the term Jataruchi and Ajataruchi. These are the terms that Rupa Goswami uses in Bhakti Sandarbha. Ruchi, Rati. It means taste in the case of Ruchi. It means attachment, love. In the case of Rati, they can also be used somewhat interchangeably, or they can be used to refer to the stages of Ruchi and the stage of Rati, which is Bhava Bhakti. So there can be, obviously, Raganuga Sadhana is Ajata Rati, because it's form of sadhana. So it's before Rati is born, Ajata Rati. And then there's Raganuga Bhakti, Jatarati, with Bhav, after Bhav awakens. So he's saying, if you take a vow to chant the favorite names of Krishna, and you do this, will it have no effect? If I just chant, is that enough? Or do I have to do Raganuga Bhakti? Some say chanting is not enough, you have to do Raganuga Bhakti. Some say just chanting, you don't have to do Raganuga Bhakti. Neither answer is correct. Just chant, and Jatanuraga, gradually something will come from that. What, nothing will come? You're chanting, you're receiving a name from a particular sampradaya that has a particular goal from qualified devotees. What are you getting in the name? What are you getting in your mantra? Nothing? Are they only there to clean the heart? Is that all they're there for? Not according to Shikshastakam. So the name will qualify one. And as one becomes qualified, then certain practices will naturally, internal practices and the ability to engage in them will naturally develop. Now you can get some shiksha with regard to that, fine-tuning. Gurudev can say, you study this section, here's a commentary on this, these parts of the Bhagavatam, these Leelas, good for you, and so on and so forth, this kind of thing. But the name will qualify, and it would bring you to Ruchi, it would bring you to Rati, and in Rati in particular, this is the practice of how Sampradaya of internal practice of Siddharupena Chaturisa, in serving in a Siddha Deya, because you've got one. at that time. It's arisen in Bhava Bhakti. You can serve in it. You can do Lila Seva in meditation. It is, after all, a meditative world. That has to be understood. And that is, of course, the real world. Not an imaginary world, it's the real world. Therefore, when the Brahmin tested the sweet rice, was it sweet enough? You got to burn on his hand just to make the point. That's the real world there. It's being offered. Krishna's tasting it. So name will qualify us. So if you're chanting, yes, be acquainted with the teachings. What is your line and so forth? What are the practices of Raga and Nuga Bhakti? Be honest with you in terms of your ability to practice them. Lila Smarna is not such an easy thing to sit. If you can't even sit and chant attentively, Nam Smarnam, how will we do Lila Smarnam? Now, people like to combine it to in some simple way. That's okay, but that's not the full idea. Really, Lila Smarnam from a particular vantage point of a particular internal sentiment and so on and so forth. Okay. So, I say neither answer is correct. Chant and chanting will qualify you, and this idea that chanting is not enough. You have to do something else. It causes some like fear, some anxiety. I didn't get it right. I didn't get the whole thing. I'm not doing enough. I've got to do Raga Nuga Bhakti. This is not the motive of Raga Nuga Bhakti. Fear. Raga Nuga Bhakti is out of love, out of taste. It's driven. We are on the Rag Marg. We're on the Rag Marg without Rati and without Ruchi, Jata Ruchi. It's our ideal. So we incorporate the practices of Vaidhi Bhakti, and particularly that centered on chanting, and gradually the name, the Bhagavad beautifully talks about it. The name gradually qualifies one. He uses the term, it qualifies one, I think. Something like that, it gives the jewel of eligibility for Raga Bhakti. It means it gives eligibility for internal practices that are not just imagined and forced, so to speak. So name is everything, and name will give us, that means everything that we need. A theoretical acquaintance with all the aspects of the path is good, because otherwise you say, name will give me everything. I need this Raga Nuga Bhakti stuff. That's the problem, for sure. But name can't give you everything. It's not just chanting. That's also problematic. Sometimes I've seen the way that's being presented, and it causes some anxiety. Then it causes quarrels and so forth, battles over. Better say this is theoretical knowledge, and as you chant, the eligibility develops, the heart becomes cleansed, and so on. So these things will resonate with you. More you understand it, you approach your guru, talk about that, and so on and so forth. So it comes out nicely here in the verse, right? By taking the vow to chant names that are dear to one. Jatanurago Gutta Chitta Uchai. One develops attachment, ruchi, taste, attachment, asakti, bhava, and Jutta Chitta, then very eagerly, Uchai, loudly, hasati, comes laughing, and rodati, crying, and so on and so forth. These different symptoms, like a madman dancing, without caring for others, and so forth. So this is the method. This is the madness, something like that. And then Mahaprabhu says what? He says, as we'll conclude, I firmly believe that these words of my Guru. Therefore, I always chant the holy name of the Lord, alone and in the association of the devotees. That holy name of the Lord sometimes causes me to chant and dance, and therefore I chant and dance. Please don't think that I intentionally do it. I do it automatically. It's a nice statement. Don't think that I intentionally do it in an imitated way. I can't but not do it. It happens to me like this. This is the effect of the name. And as it's happening, well, it's something internal is going on. Krishna Nami Jai Ananda Sindhu Aspadam Brahmananda Tarage Kapurdhakasam. Compared to the ocean of transcendental bliss, which is tasted by chanting, he's taken us so high into praying. The pleasure derived from impersonal Brahman. Brahmananda is like the water in a canal. It's like compared to the ocean of the bliss derived from chanting the Mahamantra, the happiness of Brahman is like a canal in comparison. Then a nice verse from Hari Bhakti Sudadaya, O my dear Lord, O Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss takes the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in the ocean, I now realize it. All other so-called happiness is like the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. Prabhu Vishta Vakya Shuni, Sanyas Yiravan, Chitta Pirigila Koi, Madhura Vachan. After hearing Mahaprabhu, all the Maya bodies were moved, their minds changed. And as they spoke with pleasing words, he changed their hearts. Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Nam Kirtan ki jai. Shri Nam Siksha ki jai. Given the Siksha, changed the hearts. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Oh, Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Oh, Premananda. Panchakopa Purulis Anandapuri Vaishnavinda ki jai. Lord Premananda.
Bhaktivedanta Tripurari Swami.
It's interesting that there's some indirectness there, like teaching the daughter-in-law by saying something to your daughter.